Why does God hate me? I want to be able to buy Starlink because I'm sick of going through this. If I had Starlink, I could do so much. If I had Starlink, I could edit videos. If I had Starlink, I could make my own thumbnails. If I had Starlink, I could do everything myself. Everything. I wouldn't have to worry about hiring anybody ever. I need internet. This is just ridiculous. I don't understand why it's doing this. But let's start over. Let's start over. Because God hates me. So sick of not having service. I need Starlink. Bad. Super bad. And you know, I done deleted all of my stories. So I don't even have my stuff. Yes, I do. So I guess I'll just with Timothy Batts. So Timothy Batts was sentenced this past week. He got 4 years for the death of his daughter. He shot her accidentally. He was high on cocaine. And let me just start from the beginning. Let me find my damn story. I cannot believe. So this is Timothy. He was a single father of 4 children living in Nashville, Tennessee. His daughter, Tamia Batts, was killed by him. She got off the school bus. She went into her house, and her father shot her. She was a ball of sunshine, y'all. They said that she was very happy. As you can see, she was an outgoing kid. She did lots of sports. She was in cheer. See, some freaking dude on Facebook. How do I... Yo. What is wrong with this computer? I really think that the heat has affected my computer. So her name was Tamia Lachey Batts. So she was literally 11 years old. It was her first day of school. And I just want to talk about how this is her own father's fault. So immediately after he killed his daughter by accident, the community came out and started supporting this man because he's a single dad, and he had actually fought in court for custody of his child. Like all of the kids, he hired an attorney and he fought for the kids in court against their mother. So apparently their mother wasn't doing so well. We don't know the story. When I try to go find any information about who the mother is of this child, it's almost next to impossible to find. Hello, everybody. So it says, after more than 3 hours of deliberation Wednesday, the jury found Timothy Batts him guilty. Pretty much in 4 years. It says jury hung on reckless homicide charge in the Timothy Batts trial. Batts took the stand to testify Wednesday that it was an accident that he shot his daughter. It wasn't until his attorney asked him to talk about the events of August 8th of 2016 that speech quickened and his voice threatened to break. I have no doubt that he was trying to do the right thing. I'm not saying that this guy is a bad guy but coked out of his mind and killed his daughter. I'm saying that he probably shouldn't have had custody of these children to start with, because he wasn't ready to wipe his hands of the bad things in society. He was still out here with dirty asses trying to raise children, high as hell on cocaine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, paranoid. We have him on surveillance video around the house on the phone with somebody, scratching his head with a gun, scared, looking out the window, paranoid, pacing, high as hell. And matter of fact, he failed his drug test for cocaine. Go figure. I have no doubt that he was trying to do the right thing. But when he won custody of those children in court, he should have been done with the bad parts of society. And it just wasn't that way. He was on probation. He had recently failed a drug test on probation for cocaine, so he was in violation of probation. He had a firearm that he was not supposed to even have because he was a felon. This is a man who clearly has drug addiction problems. Cocaine caused him to commit robberies. Cocaine has caused him, allegedly, has caused him to be in and out of jail. He's been caught with possession of drugs twice. You know, this man had a small rap sheet, and he is still out here doing the things that made him get that initial rap sheet to start with. And along the way, he has these 4 minor children that he's responsible for. Make it make sense. How do people like this, how can they have their kids? First of all, I don't like this news article because it's in sympathy of him. And here's the thing. This would have never happened if he wouldn't have been doing drugs on Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when he knew his baby girl was getting off the school bus. Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. He unlocked the door for her. He unlocked the door for her as he was pacing around the house, high on cocaine, rubbing his head with a loaded firearm, looking out the window. Okay? He knew she was getting off the bus. It's 2-something in the afternoon. She's about to be walking through the door from school, her first day in middle school, 6th grade. And as she comes in the house, we can see her take off her shoes. We can see her take off her coat, her book bag. And she goes into the living room, at which time she says, "Rawr." This is his story. She says, "Rawr," to go and play with him, like to scare him, to startle him. And he said that that's when the gun went off. It said his daughter yelled and scared him. He fired a shot which struck the child. Tamia was coming home from her first day of middle school when her father triggered and immediately rushed her to the hospital. She died Monday night at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. I don't care that it was an accident. I care that he was this, you know, that the community wants to say he was this perfect father. The fact is that if he wouldn't have been coked out of his mind, walking around with a loaded firearm at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in his own home where his children live, this would have never happened. Period. It's his own fault. It's his own fault. And it's really sad that this whole, I mean, is 4 years justice when he knew that he was not supposed to win drugs because he was on probation? When he knew that he was not supposed to be having a firearm because he's a felon? Sorry, these people like just got in an accident behind me. When he won custody of these children, he was supposed to wipe his hands of the negative things in society, the drug use, the illegal firearms, the jail, the women, the loose women in and out of the house around your babies. You know, all of that shit ends when you take responsible children, you know? And I just think that all of it was preventable and that it's own fault. And I think that he should have got more than 14 months because he was sentenced. Here's the thing. Not only was he slapped on the wrist and the community came to him and backed him, but the 4-year sentence that he got is actually ran concurrently with another 4-year sentence. So he actually was supposed to get like 8 to 12, but cut down to 4 because they ran them concurrent. And then he'll only do 30% of that, which is 14 months. So he's going to end up serving 14 months for the death of his own daughter due to his own negligence. It's not fair. Not fair. I mean, y'all see how beautiful this little girl is. And she was so nice. And like the little videos of her playing. And she seemed so normal. Like down home. Like she didn't seem like one of those iPad kids or one of them kids that were caught up in all of the fakeness. She seemed like a genuine kid that was very wholesome and down to earth. And she loved to play with makeup. And she did little makeup tutorials on YouTube and stuff. And it's just sad that, y'all, when she was shot, let me tell you this. When she was shot, the first words out of her mouth was, "Dad, have I been shot?" And she says, "Dad, am I dying?" He lifts up her shirt and there is a hole in her chest. He picks her up, and she is talking to him. She is coherent. And she's asking, am I going to die? And the whole thing was preventable. If you wouldn't have been getting fucking high and carrying around a damn gun that you weren't supposed to have, she would still be alive. Absolutely, he should feel bad. Absolutely. But to hear that the community come to back this guy, that tells you how polluted and evil the world is becoming. Evil. So we're going to switch stories. It really just upsets me that people like that can have custody of kids. So it says, oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong article. So there is a 10-year-old boy that was questioned. Okay, let me figure out where to start. So there was this 10-year-old little boy in Texas who recently was re-questioned by the sheriff department in Texas, right outside of San Antonio. Back in 2022, there was a man named Brandon Raspberry who was found dead and shot in the RV of his home. He lived in like one of those communal RV park type of situations. There was also trailers in there, and they had lots for RVs and stuff. And Brandon Raspberry was living there. He was a 32-year-old white male, and his name was Brandon Owen Raspberry. On January 18th of 22, they found him dead in his RV. And it essentially turned into a cold case. They had no idea who had shot and killed this guy. And it sat up until the other day. I just have to start with this 10-year-old boy that we don't have a name for because he's a juvenile. 3 years ago, when he was 7 years old, he went to school and he told some people that he had killed somebody. And it was such a concerning thing for such a small child to be saying that the sheriff's department actually got called in by the teachers. And they had a conversation with this child. And this child told them that he shot and killed somebody. It's fucking crazy. So, they didn't believe him. They didn't see how it was possible. A 10-year-old South Texas boy is being questioned for allegedly threatening to kill a classmate. He told investigators that for no reason I hate the way they fucking write this shit, dude. So it says a 10-year-old was being questioned for allegedly threatening a classmate, and he told investigators that for no reason years ago that he had killed someone. The unidentified child told school officials in the Nixon Smiley Independent School District that he had shot and killed a man in 22 as he was being questioned again for allegedly threatening to kill a student on a bus last week. The child told investigators firsthand information about the shooting death of 32-year-old Brandon Owen Raspberry on January 18th of 22 in Nixon, Texas, which is located approximately 1 hour east of San Antonio, Texas. The child said he was visiting with his grandfather at an RV park a few lots away from where Raspberry was living. He told investigators that he took the pill from the glove box of his father's truck, entered the RV belonging to Raspberry, shot him once, killing him. The child told investigators that he had never met Raspberry before this, but he had seen him walking around the RV park earlier in the day. Let me ask you this. What in the heck would entice a child that young to do something like this? Like, y'all, I just want y'all to know that this kid is not arrested. This kid is still out here amongst us. We need to bring back mental institutions. Something. It says the child was also asked if he was mad at him for some reason or if Brandon had ever done anything to him to make him mad. The child stated no. That's even more creepy. So this kid just went in there and shot this guy with no motive whatsoever? This guy had never done anything. That's even more scarier. Bro, this kid needs to be on a watch list. On April, investigators found the gun used in Raspberry's murder at a pawn shop in a nearby town and eventually matched the shell casings from the scene with the gun used in the crime. So they matched it from Grandpa's gun back to the shell casing, or the shell casings from the Raspberry murder scene. It says, because the child was under the age at the time of the crime, he was 7. He can't be charged in connection to the 2022 homicide. Finding out it was a 7-year-old committed that murder, a senseless murder, it's just tragic. It's hard to wrap your head around. I mean, absolutely. A child has since been charged in connection with a threat made against his classmate and is in juvenile detention waiting a court date. Absolutely. Not only does this kid need a psych eval, he needs a therapist. He needs a freaking everything, okay? Everything. This is so scary. Hell, I'm out here worried about damn adults killing me, and we got children over here committing murder nowadays. Like, is that not crazy? He done stole Grandpa's gun and went ham in the neighborhood. This is why a lot of these cases today are in reference to parents not being responsible with their gun ownership. It is absolutely your responsibility as a gun owner to ensure that all of your guns are completely locked up. Completely. Anyone has access to those guns. When those guns are registered to you, you are the only person that needs to have access to those firearms. Time and time again, I've dated so many people that had children that had this attitude that their kids would never. My kid would never touch it. My kid would never pick it up. Kid doesn't have a curiosity in guns. It's not a big deal. Police say a 2-year-old accidentally shoots mother's boyfriend in the chest in Chesterfield home. Now, this just happened on the 19th of August. A 2-year-old accidentally shot their mother's boyfriend Monday morning, and it's left him in critical condition. Now, he's still in critical condition, and it's not looking like this guy's going to live. At 9:47 a.m. on Monday the 19th, officers were called to a shooting that was reported at Butler Lane. When officers arrived, they found a man who had been shot once. He was flown by helicopter to a local hospital and is in critical condition. At this point in the investigation, police says that it appears that the man was preparing to leave his house and had placed his handgun on a nearby chair when the 2-year-old, soon-to-be 3-year-old, picked up the gun and fired it. First of all, you're not even supposed to have one in the chamber. Yeah, you can have a clip in the gun, but you're not supposed to have a bullet in the chamber. A 2-year-old cannot cock that gun back. They do not have physical strength to cock that gun back to place one in the chamber. So that tells me that there was one in the chamber, that the child shot the gun. You know, it's really sad, but how much of this at the end of the day is his fault for leaving a loaded firearm around a toddler? It says, police says that the child accidentally fired the gun, shooting the man. No one else was injured, including the child. The man is the mother of the boyfriend of the child's mother. Hold on. The man is the boyfriend of the child's mother. Okay. Yeah, so the boyfriend of the mother. I mean, it's just crazy. You know, kids are curious, especially kids, you know, that age. We see a lot of these shootings around accidental shootings, usually, you know, 7, 8, 9 years old. We see that a lot. Children getting accidentally shot because the parents have not heard their firearms. Do y'all remember just last year before last, there was a teacher in Virginia that was shot by a 6-year-old. And, you know, the crazy part of that case was this 6-year-old was a problematic child. The mother was in and out of drug use. The mother had a firearm that she left unsecure, which is how this child had access to the firearm. That child was not only in and out of behavioral management in school, but he was, he had went to school and told people that he had a gun. And they had already searched him. Apparently, he had placed it elsewhere and then later back for the gun, at which time he walks in the classroom and shoots his 26-year-old teacher. I think she was 26. But, you know, that school teacher would ultimately sue the school district, and rightfully so, because everybody knew that this child had been making threats. Nobody thought that he had access to a gun. Oh, and behold, he did. And he followed through on his threats. I mean, it's crazy to think that a 6-year-old could do something this evil, but it happens all the time. And it says not only, so the mother of the 6-year-old that shot his teacher, that mother actually would ultimately be charged, finally, about time, ultimately be charged with leaving her firearm out for her son, her 6-year-old son, to take to school to his teacher. And she would go to jail for that. And they ended up giving her probation, essentially. It's a 6-year-old boy who shot and wounded his teacher last year in Virginia had a history of violent outburst in school, including the choking of another teacher that led to his expulsion from kindergarten. The boy's record of disruptive behavior and physical abuse of fellow students and staff were documented in the 30-page report that a grand jury overlooked this past week. So it is the lawsuit from the teacher against the school district, because ultimately she would sue them, stating that the school district did not protect her as an employee. And I agree. Not only that, but when I saw the mother of this child committed this crime, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. First of all, why does this woman have custody of a child? And she's out here leaving her gun laying around him, and he's taking them to school and shooting people, and she takes zero accountability on the news for it, of course. But it is absolutely your responsibility to keep that gun secured. And if you don't and something happens, it is literally your fault. I need to get Starlink so bad, you guys. One day, if you want to donate to my channel, I had this out. I was looking for, I don't know what was going on earlier with my Wi-Fi. Like, it must have been because I had headphones in at the gym. I was trying to tell y'all that I went to the gym and all of the Smith machines were taken, and there was this guy in there that stood at the Smith machine for like 4 minutes talking to another guy, and they weren't even using the machine. And that makes me so angry, because I was trying to get in there and get out and get my workout done, and they're over there just hogging up the machines, not a care in the darn world. Can y'all believe that boy killed that guy just senseless like that? I can't find my stories, and it's making me so mad. I'm so frustrated because I work so fucking hard. Like, I literally have been working like 9 hours today. Yes, 10. I fucking didn't even get into bed till 2 a.m. and then I was back up at 4. Like, 5, technically. I laid here doing all of this research, and then I get it up on my computer, and as I was into you guys in the other video, I was deleting my tabs, so I knew what I had already went through, and it just messed everything up. Something that we ran across in the last video that you couldn't hear me talk about was the death rate in domestic violence situations. We were talking about something, I was talking about something, and we ran across some statistics that were pretty amazing. In 2020, 47,000 women died in 2020 worldwide from DV. 6 out of 10 women that are attacked, whether it's SA or physical, 6 out of 10 women, it is a family member or a spouse that inflicts that harm upon them. I'm trying to find my page. Give me one second. So it's called The Killings of Women and Girls by Their Intimate Partner. This is from the UN Briefing. It is unodc.org. It says, it's from the UNODC, which is the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Now, these statistics are going to be mainly for worldwide. If it's not worldwide, then I'll say specifically which country it is they're talking about. It says some 47,000 women and girls world were killed by their intimate partner and or other family members in 2020. This means that on average, a woman or girl is killed by someone in her own family every 11 minutes. Every 11 minutes, another girl killed by a family member. And people call me crazy. Why are you so paranoid? Because it be your own motherfucking people. That's why. What you mean? What you talking about, Willis? Shit. Some 47,000 women were killed by their intimate partner in 2020. Girls in all regions across the world are affected by this type of gender-based violence, with an estimated 18,600 victims. Asia is the region with the highest number of victims in absolute terms, while Africa is the region with the highest level of relative to size of its female population. So this is saying that you have a more likely chance across the whole world of dying from getting killed by your boyfriend or some dude you fucking or a family member than anyone else. And I knew that I'd read somewhere the most dangerous people were the people that were like your partner or your family. And it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And we're talking about women. Men that die, it's usually man-on-man violence, gang-related, stuff like that. So it's a little different from men. It says, so here's a little bit about men. It says, accounting for 80% of the total, the vast majority of all homicide victims worldwide in 2020 were men or boys. But the sex composition of homicidal victims differs markedly depending on the context. Women and girls account for only 1/10 of all homicides perpetrated in the public sphere. Yet they are a disproportionate burden of lethal violence perpetrated in the home. In 58% of all killings perpetrated by intimate partners and or family members, the victim was a woman or girl. So that is saying that you almost have a % chance of dying by an intimate partner, or like, how can I say it? How can I say it? If you were going to be murdered, there's a 60% chance that it would be by your boyfriend and or a family member. If you were to be murdered, there's a 60% chance that it was a loved one or your boyfriend. Something that I found interesting about this article was that it tells us that America doesn't give a fuck about women. Let me show you. National trends in general related killings of women and girls are often volatile. On average, Europe has witnessed a 13% decline in gender-related killings of women and girls in the private sphere over the past decade, while the Americas has seen an increase of 9%. Although these averages mask contracting trends between countries and subregions with these two regions. Due to the limited availability of data, it is not yet possible to identify time trends in gender-related killings in other regions. So it's saying that America just doesn't have enough data. We don't know what the exact numbers are. That's pretty shitty when we're supposed to be like the leading. We're supposed to be like the visionaries, right? We're supposed to be the first ones to go to space and the first ones to do this and that, and, you know, care about even holding statistics. You know, yeah. This is the feminism that I want to fight for, okay? Not that other stuff. I want to know how many women are getting, you know, harmed by their own family and spouse. It says lethal violence experienced by women and girls in the private sphere appears to be more more of a problem than killings of women and girls outside of the home. So it's saying that you have a more likely chance of DV, domestic you know what, inside of the home rather than outside the home. Eastern Europe has witnessed a reduction of 47% in female homicides perpetrated outside of the home over the past decade, while female homicide perpetrated by intimate partners or other family members have seen a reduction of 15% over the same period. So it sounds like Europe, Eastern Europe, is working really hard to help people not be DV type of situations. It seems like they are very concerned with bringing these numbers down, and we should absolutely be here too. And one of the things that you can do in your relationship is simply therapy. It is such a wonderful thing. Thank you, Isla Ford. It is such a wonderful thing to do therapy and be able to go with your partner and have that space, and it actually is really healthy. And I think that if more people went into therapy, they would get a better understanding of what type of abuse there are. There's so many different types of abuse. There's so many ways to be abusive. There's so many ways to be manipulative and conniving and cunning. And sometimes that's all people have ever known. Their parents were like that, and now they like that. And I've talked to you guys before, and I told you that when I first started dating, I was mean. I used to say mean shit. And it took me years to realize that that's not normal. It took years of therapy for me to work on able to talk to somebody the way that I'm supposed to talk to them in a relationship. A lot of people need to be deprogrammed from all of the bad, negative stuff that they grew up around. And it never hurts. It never hurts. It says women and girls in all regions are affected by gender-based killings, while Asia is the region. Oh, read that, sorry. This is what I found interesting. Look at this little graph they got for us here. So it says, notice that we're right up there. We got one of the highest numbers. And that's just what they know. Like, that's not for sure what it is. Why does my nail look dirty? It's not, though. I just broke one. Sorry. OCD 1.4. We're right there next to Africa. That's the information that we have, and that's 1.2 per 100,000 females. See how men's death way outweigh women's death. But it says, hold on, I'm about to read this to you. It says homicides within the private sphere affect both sexes, but women and girls bear the largest burden lethal violence perpetrated within the home, accounting for approximately 6 out of 10 homicide victims killed by an intimate partner or other family member. Do y'all remember a few years back that guy? Okay, so there was a man. He was from, I do believe, Syria or either like India or somewhere. I want to say maybe he was Syrian, but I don't know. We can look up the case one day. He essentially shot and killed both of his daughters in the backseat of a taxi. Do y'all remember that? Apparently, he had immigrated here. He had met an American woman. They had had 2 daughters, beautiful daughters. And the wife and him had essentially split up because he was abusive. He was controlling. He was manipulative. He didn't know what personal space was. He didn't know what respect was, okay? And the wife was over it. And so she took the 2 daughters and she fled. At some point, the girls started seeing him again, and he was upset. The mother, who was a Western woman, was allowing her to not only date, but listen to certain music, wear certain clothes. Remember, he's from another country. He doesn't agree with the promiscuity. Is that how you say that? You know what I mean? He didn't want his daughters being whores, plain and simple, okay? He wanted his daughters to respect themselves. And he snapped. And I'm not saying it's right. It's absolutely wrong. No parent has the right to abuse a child. Like, he was absolutely abusing all 3 of these women. I genuinely don't think that he knew any, if that makes any sense at all. But he did. He killed his own daughters. And this is exactly what these statistics are talking about. This is the type of violence that I'm talking about. My lips are so chapped. So this chart says that there's been a 9% increase. However, as it stated at the top of the page, we don't know what the exact number is because America is not being honest. We don't keep records on stuff like this, and we absolutely should. But also, if they admit that we have a problem, then they have to start fixing a problem, and they definitely don't want to do that. You know what I mean? It says about 4,000 women in America die every year due to DV. But that other article from the UN said that 47,000 women died just in 2020. So which is it? I think that I'm going to believe what the UN says over Google. I think that it's pretty sad that we do not have real numbers. I think that the media is on board, and all of these outlets, like these search engines, they're all bought and paid for. We're not getting actual information from them anymore. They're lying to us. Bold-faced lying to us. He should have got more than 14 months, y'all. What? This is 2 hours ago, huh? Out of Kansas. Kansas mom sentenced to life in prison after her 2-year-old son fatally shot her 4-year-old daughter. Gee, I wonder where they got the gun from. I bet drove down to the local pawn shop. They bought a gun. They surely went and registered it. Surely. The children, you know? A Kansas mother whose 2-year-old son fatally shot his 4-year-old big sister, had sentenced to life in prison. Let's see her name. Listen, if I don't know a name, I ain't trying to, be funny. It's just me. I barely speak English. Marina? Listen. So she won't be eligible for parole until she served 25 years under the sentence imposed Tuesday at the Shawnee County Court. The Topeka Capital Journal reported jurors found her guilty in May of aggravated child endangerment and first-degree murder in the commission felony. I mean, here we go. Listen, this is what I'm talking about. Maybe more parents need charged in these cases. Maybe they'll start taking gun ownership more seriously. It really infuriates me when I think about children having access to firearms. It scares the hell out of me. It says that she testified at her trial that she removed a loaded 9mm handgun from her diaper bag and placed it on the couch next to her in October while she was home with her 4-year-old daughter and her 2-year-old son and 1-year-old daughter. So she's got 3 kids running around the house. She has a gun and a diaper bag. And she's 24 years old. Her brain ain't even fully developed, and she's out here with 3 kids. And a gun. What could possibly go wrong? A baby having babies, toting around guns, leaving them unsecured, and people call me crazy. She said that she had planned to go get food with her family and was making sure she had everything she needed. She said the baby, then one of her children, then distracted her by asking her to shoot a cell phone photo of them together. If you listen long enough, people will tell you the truth. So she just admitted to us that she wanted to take a picture with her daughter. She's blaming it on her daughter. She left a gun laying on the sofa. She got distracted by her child to shoot a cell phone photo of them together. I believe half of that. Deputy District Attorney Lauren told jurors that the gun sat on the couch for at least 12 minutes before Blair's son, Belair's son, who was about to turn 3, picked it up and shot his sister. She said no reasonable person would have been sitting there so long with that many small children present, and I agree. Court records show Belair, it's Belair, right? Complained in a handwritten motion that her trial attorney discouraged her from taking the plea that would have resulted in her being sentenced to 10 years and 3 in prison. So they gave her an awesome plea, and she took it to trial, and then now she's trying to say that it's her attorney's fault. Girl, the attorney assigned to the case has requested a new trial. I think I would have just took my damn 10 years and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Especially if I know I'm wrong. That's crazy. But I'm crazy, right? I know better than to do half this shit I'm talking about. That's why I talk about it, because I have every fucking right, because I know better. Maybe somebody needs to talk about it, because I don't feel like gun safety is ever talked about. Not anymore. It should be. I think that people have to their firearms. I want you to have a gun. I feel safer if you have a gun, unless it's in my face and you're trying to kill me. But you know what I mean? Like, I think gun ownership is a wonderful thing. I think everyone is entitled to their Second Amendment. Listen, I'm being honest. I think it's the second. Hold on. Is it the Second Amendment? Yeah, it is. I was right. Woo! That's probably the only one. Well, the First Amendment is freedom of speech, right? So I think I know a few of them. Yeah, I think everybody has the right to, and I would encourage you to learn how to shoot if you have an interest. I started early. I was probably like 16 when I started playing around with guns. I dated somebody that had guns, and, you know, back then I didn't even understand he taught me how to shoot, but he never really expressed how to store guns. And, he was definitely one of those people that left his firearm around. We would have friends over and there'd just be guns everywhere. Like, that is not responsible as a gun owner, especially when you got friends over and y'all are drinking and shit. Like, you're asking for problems. I read somewhere that, you know what, tonight I'm going to look up statistics on how many people are high and drunk when they commit crimes, because it is a large number, y'all. I mean, like, over half of the people that commit crimes, violent crimes, are drunk and or high on a substance. And that's just really scary to think about. Somebody out here robbing you, they're high as hell and they have nothing to lose. And it's just scary, and it happens a lot more than people realize. And when you start, messing with drugs and substances like that, you're much more likely to fall into these kind of crimes out of desperation for money, because you're hanging out with the wrong crowd and they're doing, and you are who you hang around. I know, I want to believe it's not true too. My eyebrows, this one's a little bit darker than the other one. I want to believe it's not true too, but it is. My parents used to say all the time, you're hanging around. And I'd be like, no, I'm different. I don't do the things they do. I don't have to get tattoos and piercings. Comes home with tattoos and piercings. See, that's how it works. The brainwashing. That easy. Next thing you know, you're a felon. And you're in and out of jail. And on drugs. And it's a horrible cycle. Most of us that get clean, we don't take this second chance for granted. And I'm not trying to. That's why I talk about these things. I really hate that you guys couldn't hear me and I took it personal. Listen, ain't it sad that I can't trust y'all? Ain't it sad? Because that's what I was thinking. They were telling me that they couldn't hear me, but I can't trust nobody because they gaslight me so much. Half the hate comments I get, I have to just ignore. So I really genuinely thought that they were gaslighting. I thought it was a bunch of kids that had come back again telling me. So I'm so sorry. When somebody sent me $1 on Cash App, it said, we can't hear you on microphone. I said, okay, maybe this is for real. Maybe they're being honest. Okay. And then I had to wait for the video to upload to YouTube, and I go and I click on it and you can't hear shit. And then fast forward half of it and I'm like, oh my God, I want to die. It gets so frustrating. And I worked so this morning. I've been up for forever. I wanted to go back to sleep and I didn't. I was reading for 3 hours before I even got out of bed, So I want to get to a point where I can. Here's the thing I was talking about today. If I had Starlink, I can do all of my video editing. If I had Starlink, I have my thumbnails. If I had Starlink, I could edit all of my stuff. I have the computer. I have what I need. It's the internet service. When I am hopping on these places, it says that I'm on Wi-Fi right now, but it kicks itself off. And when I'm editing videos on that computer, if I hook up to Wi-Fi and then it kicks me off, it takes away all of my information. All of my hard work just disappears. Imagine doing that 3 or 4 times in a row and how aggravated you would get after 4 hours of editing something, and then the Wi-Fi kicks you off and all of your hard work is just gone. And it sucks that it does that to me. I've had extreme problems with my Apple phone. I will never buy Apple products again, ever. Once this watch breaks, baby, I just go back to my old school watch with the little hands, okay? I constantly fear that I'm going to break this thing because it's glass. But yeah, it's very frustrating to work hard on this and then everything just kind of blows up in your face. I'm learning it's definitely to me to have a lot more patience, which we know that I lack. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I got it at the Dollar Tree. It was $1.25, 99 cents. I got it on sale for 99 cents. Yeah, it works great. I mean, as far as the ink in it and stuff, it works great. It glides really nice for a damn dollar pen. Let me tell you, it's a nice pen. I mean, ain't bad. I think that past like 2 days, I've been spiraling mentally because I knew that I needed to go dance, but I didn't want to go dance. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely hate it. I know that's environment. I know that a lot of people have seen my content. I know that girls are going to hate me because I'm speaking truth, or maybe they're not going to agree with what I say or whatever. And I hate that. But at the end of the, I started this channel to be able to document everything that I'm going through and what life is really like. I've been under so much stress my entire life, and every day is such a crisis that I think that I just forget things. I'm under such extreme amounts of stress that I just block things out, you know what I mean? And this is a great way for me to go through the healing process and hopefully come out on the other side being with others in some way, because that's really all I desire to do. See, it glides really nice. Not bad for a dollar store pen. Well, I guess I'm going to get my ass back to the gym now. You know, the Smith machine kidnapped earlier, even though nobody was using it. I said something to the girl at the gym. I was like, yeah, I'm coming back in like an hour. I got to go run and work, and then I'll come back. I said, but the guy out there hogging the Smith machine, I said, I've been waiting to use it for 40 minutes. Was just standing there and wasn't damn doing anything. He was talking to somebody else and just hogging the machine. I feel like a piece of crap. I did that to somebody. Seriously. When I look in my rearview mirror and I see somebody on my ass and then I look down and notice that I'm going 5 miles under the speed limit, I feel horrible. I gas that shit so hard. I got that damn pedal to the metal like full force. Like, oh, I am so sorry. By all means, let me get the hell out of the way. Like, does nobody else have any shame anymore? That guy saw that I wanted that machine. I walked by it 4 times. I looked, waiting for him to use it. I'm like, is he going to use it, or is he just going to prop himself up on it? Prop himself up on it and talk for an hour. Of course. Of course. But we'll catch up later. If any new stuff breaks, we'll talk about it. But I'm going to get my workout in, and I got to make some phone calls, and I got a job interview this afternoon, and I really am so tired of dealing with these people. So tired. I don't know why you would even work a job where you're doing hiring and firing if you're that fucking miserable. The majority of people that I deal with on the phone for job interviews, they're assholes. You can tell they don't want to be giving me an interview. You can tell that they're not happy in life, that they hate the company that they work for. And I'm like, whoa, you're trying to hire me. I would like for you to seem happy so I can act like I'm happy to try to get this job. No. And if things seem bad from the start, they're just going to continue to be bad. So if you get on with somebody and it's a job interview, and they say, what was your name again? And you say, Brooke, I've been excited for this job interview. Yeah, if they're like that, just know that it's always going to be like that. If they have an attitude, if they're quick with you, if they're not letting you speak, if they're not being professional, just know that that person that is hiring you is a representation of what you're going to have to deal with in that job every single day. Just want you to know that. And when things start to go bad from the start, just expect them to stay bad until you end up quitting or getting fired. But I love you guys, and we'll talk later. I hope that y'all enjoyed this cooler weather. If you're on the East Coast like myself, it's been a little cool in the northern regions. I love you guys. Pray for me, because God knows I need it, and I'm praying for y'all. Y'all be safe out there.